Hello, good afternoon everyone. As a part of studying pre-independent Indian English literature, I, Krushali Dudhya, Drashti Joshi and Hetal Pathak, we are going to make our presentation on Indian English, introduction of Indian English literature and along with the introduction of R.K. Narayan. First, I will begin this presentation with the explanation from one of my blog, of which link I have embedded in this video, description of the video as well. So let us first begin with what is Indian writing in English. Indo-Anglian literature is not essentially different in a kind from Indian literature. It is a modern facet of that glory which, commencing from Vedas, has continued to spread its mellow light to greater and lesser billions under the inexorable vicissitudes of time and history. It is a literature which is combination of Indian literature and Indian English literature both. Indian English literature refers to the body of work by writers in India who write in English and whose native or co-native language could be one of the numerous languages of India. It is also associated with the works of members of Indian diaspora. And the Indian English writers were highly influenced by Romanticism, Victorians and Georgians. It is there is a kind of misconception about Indian English writers that Indo-Anglian literature has an appeal to Indians and to Englishmen as well, both the parallel. Sometimes it is quoted that one can't write first class in learned language. Indian writers sometimes suffered from that, but it is not true at all, because Indian writers give glory to the English literature. And the writings of Indian English literature began from the rule of Britishers, and then it was spread across the India as time passed. Let us first take a definition from C.R. Reddy, which is described in Iyer's book Indian Writing in English. Indo-Anglican literature is not essentially different kind from Indian literature. It is part of it that we have discussed earlier. And Iqbal, Tagore and Aurobindo Ghosh are the major figures of Indian English literature. There are others like R.K. Narayan, Mulkraj Anand, Raja Rao, Henry Vivian Lorenzo, who was the first to write a novel in English language, Michael Madhusudan Dutt, and many others. And the travel of Deen Muhammad was the first travel narrative by Sheikh Deen Muhammad, its early stage, and Indian English literature was influenced by Western novels as well. This female writer though that was also a big name in Indian English literature. Like I have said earlier about Thoreau, the contribution of women writers cannot go unnoticed, because we have so many women writers who are talking about feminism, many other issues, gender biases and everything like racism, whatever presented in Indian cultural norms are in a way cultivated or included in the writings of Indian writers in the language of English. Let's now take another aspect of Indian English literature. Indian Renaissance and Indian writing in English plays a pivotal role to look at the literature as well as the mindset of people. During this time, 18th and 19th century, there were a reawakening of everything in literature, in which Raja Ram Mohan Roy and Dayanand Saraswati and Swami Vivekanand were three prominent figures. Raja Ram Mohan Roy established Brahma Samaj, and also he is also known about Sati Pratha, who has banned Sati Pratha in India as well. Telam, Mahadev Govind Ranade, all are the greatest figure of this Indian reawakening, which directly goes to Vedas and all our spiritual values of Indians. Like this is caption from Srinivas Ayangara, the consummation of 2000 years of the spiritual life of 300 million people and his own animates modern India. So thus the Renaissance was the most important time period in development of humanity because of the significant adjustments in science, exploration, church, government, art and writing. In the medieval period, the society had fallen into deep slumber, as I have said earlier. Significant amounts of people decided to adhere to ideas that were thought up by blind thinkers. Like we had so many things which are not that much good as like sati pratha, casteism and all that, which was tended to disappear during this 18th 19th century as a part of Indian Renaissance, or we can say reawakening. So with this I want to conclude the introduction of what is Indian writing in English. Now I would like to call Drashti Joshi for the biography of R.K. Narayan and other things.
So let's start with the points to ponder. Points to ponders are biography of R.K. Narayan, interesting facts about R.K. Narayan, works of R.K. Narayan, awards and honors, his writing style, his contribution to Indian English literature, and after that conclusion. So first thing is biography of R.K. Narayan. Rashipuram Krishna Swami Iyer, Narayan Swami, so this is the full name of R.K. Narayan, was a well-known Indian writer famous for his set of works and writing science fictional South Indian town of Malgudi. So Malgudi is created by R.K. Narayan. So this Malgudi is not an actual town, or we can say an actual city or anything. So this is a Malgudi is created by R.K. Narayan, who is a fictional town. He was one of the leading and famous authors of early Indian literature, writing in English along with two others, Mulkraj Anand and Rajaram. Narayan's greatest achievement was to make India accessibly to the outside world through his writing and powerful words in literature. Narayan's biography is always centered on his friendship. Who is his friend? Graham Greene. So his most of short stories and novels are based on friendship and that kind of things. Because he was Narayan's mentor and close friend, he was actively involved in identifying and getting publishers for Narayan's first 4 books. And after that, in 1941, he founded his own publishing house. So R.K. Narayan developed his own publishing house. After that, his works quickly found a performance and favorite place in the bookshelves of almost every Indian houses. When he was at the peak of his fame, in his successful career, Narayan was then awarded a Padma Bhushan in 1964, and 36 years later, just a year before of his death, he awarded by another prestigious award, Padma Vibhushan. So he got 2 major awards, Padma Bhushan and Padma Vibhushan in 2000. So the next is his early life. Narayan was critically ill and hospitalized with cardiac arrest problem 2 weeks ago in Madras. So where he born? In Madras. Narayan was born in 1906 in Madras, who is now named as Tamil Nadu. British India into a normal Hindu family. He was one of the 8 children, so he has 8 siblings. And his parents had, and Narayan was second among them. His younger brother Ramachandra was an editor in Gemini Studio, and the younger brother Lakshman, who is a successful cartoonist. Narayan spent the early year of his life in Madras, in the care of his grandmother, and a maternal uncle joined in their families like this. He lived with his grandmother and his parents and maternal family also. At the time, India was still treated as the most important of the British Empire, a colony held since 1857. R.K. Narayan was always a founded devotee to and dedicated to a reading whenever he get time. So he always trying to read something. So that's why he became a great storyteller, we can say. So this is a quote, famous quote by R.K. Narayan. No one ever accepts criticism so cheerfully, neither the man who utters it nor the man who invites it really mean it. So thank you for this. Now I would request Tushari Dodia for further information about R.K. Narayan.
R.K. Narayan is a prolific writer in Indian English literature. So these are the well-known works of him. This is Swami and Friends. It is his first novel published in the year of 1935. In his second book, The Bachelor of Arts, in 1937. Both these novels are set in the town Malgudi, which is a fictional town on the border between Mysore and Madras. These both are Dark Room and The Guide. Both are also well-known work by R.K. Narayan. These are the English teacher, the vendor of sweet, painter of science are also good. The Malgudi Days is one of his most famous work. So this work I have taken in consideration, and he has also written 5 collection of stories, including Malgudi Days, Lovely Roads, A Horse and Two Goats, and other stories, Under the Banyan Tree, and other stories, and The Grandmother's Tale. Multiple collection of essays, commentaries on the Indian epics, and a memoir, My Days. So the book Malgudi Days, which I have taken the picture of that here, includes 32 stories, all set in the fictional town of Malgudi, located in South India. Each of the stories portrays a facet of life in Malgudi. And the taking of this Malgudi Days in a special consideration is that the short story that we are going to study on Astrologer's Day is also a part of first stories of one of these 32 stories. An Astrologer's Day is a thriller and suspense short story which deals with a single day in the life of an ordinary astrologer who sturdily tries to dupe people and escape from his guilt. The story not only exposes the fact astrologer but also highlights the gullible and superstitious people who approach him. When he is about to wind up his business, he meets a rogue character named Guru Nanak. Towards the end, as a reader, we receive a shock that Guru Nanak and the astrologer belong to the same native town that we come to know at the end of the story. They both were good friends and had a quarrel one day. Both were into a bad company and had a fight. Then the astrologer tried to kill Guru Nanak by attacking him with a knife, and then he threw him into a nearby well. But it happens a passer one saved Guru Nanak, and this is how he was being saved. Astrologer left his native village forever because of this reason. He tried to kill one of his friend, which was later on saved by a passerby, and he became an astrologer. And suddenly he confronted his past unexpectedly, but he at the end, when he meet his oldest friend, he tried to handle the situation very smartly. So this is how the story, the brief introduction of this story. This is like further information. Unexpected twist With the arrival of Guru Nanak, the mystery that is hidden in the darkness is unveiled by his question. Guru Nanak challenges the astrologer's knowledge. He refuses to go without getting a satisfactory answer to his question. He now decides to face the situation, and it is described in the ending line of the last slide. And he displays accurate knowledge about Guru Nanak's past and is successful in convincing him. In answering the question of Guru Nanak, the astrologer has not only deceived him, but but also saved him from his own fate, which he going to confront by the arrival of his old friend. The author superbly evoked the atmosphere of suspense and irony in the story. The story reveals how appearances are often deceptive. It shows the witty astrologer's encounter and escape from his former enemy, his friend. The another short story, Crime and Punishment, is a fine presentation of today's troubled teacher-student relationship. The story throws light on the attitude of the parents in shaping the child as well. If we'll read the story, first we'll think that, okay, this can be happen. So first, that at once student came up to the teacher and without having lessons of him, and teacher just slapped him. So this is what the teacher's crime, what he does. And then the boy told his parents to the attitudes of his teacher, what his teacher done to him. And the attitude of his parents, like the boy is belong to a very well-to-do family, and his parents are quite well-to-do, and well-to-do in the sense they are just like they are not having concern of his boy, like what will be about my boy, how he will grow by all the surroundings, and what lessons we are going to tell them. And then the punishment, it is not punishment of the student or of that boy, but this punishment is of teacher. Now the student is trying to blackmailing his teacher. If he is not coming with his homework done, he just blackmail his teacher that if you will do so and so, I will tell my parents and all that. And at the end, when the teacher is quite like, he was too disturbed by this sorts of behavior of that boy, his student, and he went to the family, to the parents of that boy. And when he go there, and he just ran next to the boy. And when one of the parents of that boy came and like, what has happened to the teacher, and then teacher make an excuse that we were just playing, nothing has happened to us. So this is how the story begins and starts. So at the end we can see that what teacher has thought, it can be like, if I will tell his parents, it can be possible that student will go more beyond than that. So that the story structure is like that: teacher's crime and parents' attitude, then punishment to the teacher, not to the student, and teacher himself made an excuse to the one of the parent of that boy. Now I would like to call Heather to take over the further discussion.
Hello everyone, I am going to deal with the later and last part of the presentation, and the topic is awards and honors which is received by R.K. Narayan. Among the best works of R.K. Narayan, among his 34 novels, The English Teacher in the year 1945, Waiting for the Mahatma in 1955, The Guide in 1958, The Man-Eater of Malgudi in 1961, The Vendor of Sweets in 1967, and A Tiger for Malgudi was the best. So these are some famous works written by R.K. Narayan, and for that he received many awards. His novel The Guide in 1958 won him the most prestigious national prize of the Indian Literary Academy, which was his country's highest honor. Narayan received many other awards and honors, including the A.C. Benson Medal from the Royal Society of Literature, the Padma Vibhushan and the Padma Bhushan, India's second and third highest civilian awards, and in 1994 the Sahitya Akademi Fellowship, the highest honor of India's National Academy of Letters. He was also once nominated to the Rajya Sabha, which is the upper house of India's parliament. So from these slides we can understand that R.K. Narayan brought many works, and for that he received many awards and honors for that. Okay, so next slide is about early writing. When R.K. Narayan quit his job as a school teacher, R.K. Narayan began to read and write more. The first publication of Narayan that appeared was a book review of the work development of maritime laws of the 17th century England. R.K. Narayan's father was also a school teacher, and when R.K. Narayan he quit his job as a school teacher, he began to read and write more. After this, he began to write short stories about local matters for English papers. However, this career did not earn him much, but he was unquestionably supported by his family for his choice of profession. They respect and supported his decision in every way. So that is how R.K. Narayan's family also respected his choice for that he wants to become a writer. R.K. Narayan's writing style. His style is graceful, marked by genial humor, elegance and simplicity. According to Pulitzer Prize winner Jhumpa Lahiri, R.K. Narayan's short stories have the same captivating feelings as his novel, with most of them less than 10 pages long and talking about as many minutes to read. She adds that Narayan provides the reader something novelists struggle to achieve in hundreds more pages, a complete insight to the lives of his characters between the title sentence and the ends. As we are going to study two short stories, An Astrologer's Day and Crime Punishment, both are the short stories which is not that much long, but when we read the stories we came to know that the writing style of R.K. Narayan is very much easy, that we can understand while only once we are reading the story. Critics have noted that Narayan's writings tend to be more descriptive and less analytical. The objective style, rooted in a detached spirit, providing for a more authentic and realistic narration. Narayan's writing style was often compared to that of William Faulkner, since both their works brought out the humor and energy of ordinary life while displaying compassionate humanism. Although their approach to subjects were similar, their methods were different. Faulkner was rhetorical and illustrated his points with immense prose, while Narayan was very simple and realistic, capturing the elements all the same. So here we can understand that the R.K. Narayan's writing style can be compared with William Faulkner. Okay, R.K. Narayan's contribution to Indian English literature. Narayan's greatest achievement was making India accessible to the outside world through his literature. He is regarded as one of the three leading English language Indian fiction writers, along with Raja Rao and Mulkraj Anand, as Kushali already discussed in her blog. He has devoted himself exclusively to writing a rare observable fact in the modern Indian literature. His little dreams of middle class life are enacted in Malgudi and imaginary small town in South India, which come to be felt as a living ambience in his fiction. The place that R.K. Narayan occupies in Indian English literature is held by the critics in India as well as other countries. He set the stage open for the authors to come and display their creative skills. To conclude, one can see that he was very essential phenomenon for Indian English writing. So from this slide we can understand that R.K. Narayan's contribution in Indian English literature was very much very much important and significant. Conclusion. To conclude, R.K. Narayan continues to rule over the heart of his readers, simply but yet extraordinary. That has been the appeal of his works. India and its small town life have been his plots, his character sketches are universal. Children love his works and peculiar characters. Truly, he is a common man's writer. So, that is how we can understand about the introductory presentation of R.K. Narayan, and this task is assigned by Megha ma'am, and we all were very much happy and enjoyed a lot while preparing this, which will help us